Welcome to Coffee and History, a conversation with Alabama Heritage. We are your hosts. I'm Rebecca Mender.
Susan Reynolds.
And Caroline Gazera McKenzie.
Join us as we sit down with some of the most fascinating figures in the historical community over a hot or cold cup of coffee. We'll explore the captivating tales of Alabama, the interesting stories that hopefully educate, inspire, and entertain. And we're thrilled to have you here with us. Susan, we like to begin our episodes with something called Did You Know? Do you have a fun fact for us today?
You know I do. Today I'm going to talk to you about Thomas M. Owen. He's a very important person in the state of Alabama because he ended up founding one of the most important institutions in our state. But first of all...
Wait, is that Alabama Heritage?
No.
Oh,
okay.
Okay, so what is the institution then?
I'll get to that.
I'm impatient, gosh.
Well, there's a story behind it.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So
Let's learn.
Thomas Owen wanted to write a really great history of the state of Alabama, but the problem was at the time that he was writing it, which is not present day, but way back in the day, was that he couldn't find like a good repository of places where he could find information or repositories of information. And so he started to build his own collection of newspapers, maps, letters, anything that he could find as he was writing this history. And this led to the founding, because he was the founder and the first director of the Alabama Department of Archives and History,
Ooh.
which is one of our favorite places.
And one of our co-publishers of our
That's
magazine.
right. We love the archives. And so yeah, he wrote this groundbreaking history. It came out in 1921 and it's called The History of Alabama and the Dictionary of Alabama Biography.
Wow, that is
Yeah.
really cool.
So
Yeah, it's kind of...
you said it was in 1921 was when this was published?
It was published actually after his death. And
Oh.
so yeah, but he died before it was actually published, but 1921, so it's been a long time, but I have seen a copy of this.
Has
You know-
it been updated?
I'm sure it has at some point, yeah.
You know what I think is kind of cool is that he didn't have what he needed, and so he just took care of business and created it.
Yeah, he started building his collection. And
Are you sure you're not related to him, Rebecca?
What is that supposed to mean?
You get everything done. You are business. If you
Hey,
don't
y'all.
have...
Yeah, ours is the oldest state archives in the country.
That is true.
Really?
Yeah, that is.
I
another
didn't know
fun
that.
fact.
It's
Yeah,
true.
yeah, that's it. That's really cool. Well, I tell you what, today we have a really cool guest with us as well, and this may be, I don't know if we've ever had this before because it's new to me on the University of Alabama campus. We have something that I think may have also been created out of a need, just like the archives was. Today our guest is investigator with the Criminal Investigations Division at the University of Alabama Police Department. That's Officer Marshall Wade, but even more important is his sidekick, K-9 Kenny. Y'all come join us today. Woo!
Hi, Kenny.
Hey, Kenny.
Hi.
Oh my gosh, he's so stinking adorable. I mean, I love that.
It's just
Well,
gorgeous.
welcome, Marshall. I'm
Welcome.
sorry
Thank you for having me.
We obviously love Kenny, but you know we love you as well because we know you provide an invaluable service.
Absolutely.
But you know, we kind of wanted to ask you about Kenny and his role on campus because I know that the University of Alabama has a big K-9 department where they're, you know, honestly trying to make sure that the campus is safe, and especially with large events like football games and things of that nature. Does Kenny do those types of things, or is he really just our happy-go-lucky compassion puppy on campus? What is his role?
Yeah, so Kenny is the 8th K-9 we currently have in the department right now. The other 7 dogs that we have are explosive detection K-9s, and so they are the ones that are sweeping buildings, sweeping the stadium before big events, making sure that our campus is safe. But Kenny was actually birthed out of an idea of our chief, who wanted to have a K-9 that could go to events and actually be a part of them, connect with people, help our department connect with the campus at large, whether that be other students or faculty and staff. And so that's kind of how he came about.
So this was something that was just created this year. We've never had this before.
It was. Kenny is our first community K-9.
Oh, that is fantastic. Now, do you know if any other campuses across the state or even the country have something similar, or is this a really new program?
Yeah, I'm not sure if there are other K-9s around the country or even on campuses that kind of do what he does. I'm sure there are. I know for our chief, the idea came from when he went to an assisted living home to visit a family member and saw that there were therapy dogs there.
Mhm.
And he
Yeah.
saw that
Yeah.
that could be a great addition to our campus as well. And so he put it on the minds of our lieutenant, our captain, to go find a dog for this job.
Aw.
And so we started. He wanted the dog to be rescued, and we had organizations that were willing to basically donate other dogs to us, and he was adamant that he wanted the dog to be a rescue. And so back this summer is when we first started to look for a dog, and that was a really bad time to look for a dog in Tuscaloosa because there was a big distemper outbreak at Metro. And so we told the staff there, the employees there, what we were wanting to do and what we were trying to do, and they looked for a dog that would have the antibodies for distemper, and it was like maybe 3 or 4 dogs
Oh, wow.
that we were able to pick Kenny from.
Wow, and that's not very many, because I know that, especially the Tuscaloosa Metro Shelter, they're always overflowing with pets. And so just to have like a couple that could handle that, that's kind of amazing that they even had that. So, I mean, so what kind of dog is Kenny? He's basically a mutt, right?
Yeah, I get that question all the time, is what breed of a dog he is. We don't know. I feel like I need to go ahead and probably get like a DNA test.
DNA.
Just so I can answer that question for people.
He's a happy dog. That's
Yeah.
the kind of dog he is.
That's right.
The other question we get all the time is, how old is he? It's like, we also don't know. The vet believes that he's probably somewhere around about 1.5 to 2 years old.
Oh, he's a true puppy then. Yes.
He acts like one.
Oh my God. So not knowing what kind of dog he is, you don't know exactly how much bigger he'll get, but I'm assuming if he's at least 2, then that's probably as big as he'll get, right? 'Cause
Yeah,
he's kind of a
he'll
medium
probably
size.
fill out some, but I think he's probably about the size he'll be.
I
Yeah.
think so, yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. So does Kenny live with you full time, or does he stay here at the campus?
Yeah, like all the other K-9s at UAPD, the dogs go home with their handlers.
Okay,
So
okay.
since January, he's been going home with my. We also have a 1-year-old Rottweiler.
Okay.
Who actually works very hard too, because he keeps Kenny calm by
Aww.
clearing him out every day.
That's
So they're
that's
play
hard.
friends.
Yes.
Yeah, they're play buddies.
He actually has more energy today than he usually does, because it's raining outside and we haven't had a chance to go out there and
Yeah.
burn some of that off. But my dog helps in that case to help him
That's
be a little
great.
more calmer.
Does Kenny get along with the other on-campus dogs, or does he not really interact with them?
He interacts with them some. He's not very fond of other dogs.
Okay.
It took him a while to warm up to mine, but the other K-9s, he I think he sees his special place in the department, so he owns it for sure.
That's all that
Does he
matters.
have a badge or a badge number or anything like that?
He does not. He has
He
a
needs
collar
one.
with his name on it and
Oh.
his Instagram handle.
Oh.
Which is, what is that?
It's at UA Kenny.
Nice.
At UA Kenny.
Instant follow. Instant
Yes,
follow.
we'll definitely be following Kenny.
Yeah, that sounds great.
So
Oh
what
my
are the
goodness.
different types of things that you guys do? Because I have seen a couple of, like when I first saw the article about Kenny, I did saw some pictures and with him being with students on campus. Is there like a particular time that, you know, he's more active in his role, or, I mean, how do you know where to go and how to find students, and how does that all work?
Sure. So with Kenny being our first community K-9, I'm also our first community K-9 handler.
Right.
And so a lot of that has been put on my shoulders to try to build out the position to be what it is. And so my hours are usually daytime, Monday through Friday, anywhere from 8 to 3, 4 or 5. And we just go around campus trying to find the best way to engage with students as well as staff and faculty. We spend a lot of times in the dorms, walking around, try to go to some of the same places over and over so we can kind of build some name recognition. I'm always happy when I go to places and people know, hey, there's Kenny. Hey, Kenny.
They won't remember your name, but they'll remember
Oh,
Kenny's
absolutely
name.
not. As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
I was working the strip one weekend, and a young lady walked by. She was like, "Hey," Kenny wasn't even with me. She's like, "Hey, Kenny." I'm like, "That's not really my name," but and so that's actually happened quite a bit now.
So
Oh,
people
yeah.
are calling you by your dog's name.
Yes.
100%. I mean, I had my dog Madison before she passed away. She was 14, and I mean, for 14 years, I walked that dog in my neighborhood, and no one knew my name, but they knew that I was Madison's mom. So it was always like that.
Dogs have that way with
They
people.
do.
Well, I
they
mean,
do.
it's the same thing with kids
Oh,
because,
yeah.
I mean, you know, I have 5 kids and every time I would go to the school, I'd go, oh, look, there's Jesse's mom. It's like, I don't even know Jesse's mom's name, but I do know Jesse because Jesse played soccer with my son. So, I mean, it's those kinds of things where you learn how to just accept it and roll with it and say, as long as they know who I am, that's fine, you know.
Yeah, Violet has a following at Billy's in Northport, and
Yeah,
so
she's a new mom.
Yes,
So
I
Caroline
have a-
has a new baby.
I have a 15-month-old who stays with her sitter over in downtown Northport, but they go to Billy's at least a couple times a week.
Yeah.
So Violet has a following of everyone at Billy's. They finally met me, I think, 3 weeks ago, because I work. So yeah, I understand.
Violet's mom,
Yeah, I am the keeper of Violet.
the keeper of Violet. I like that.
So can you tell us more about just campus safety in general? Like, obviously you're part of the K-9 department and you're not really part of the safety. I'm assuming that if a call comes in though, you have to drop what you have to do and you gotta participate. But can you tell us what some of the other departments are on campus that, you know, are here part of the UAPD department?
Sure. So
And what their roles are, what they do?
okay, so I'm a part of the community-oriented policing division,
Okay.
and it gives me and the other officer that's a part of this to be an educator and a communicator to the campus about campus safety, how to stay safe on campus, what are the best ways for you to take care of yourself and others. We also have a criminal investigation division, so about 7 or 8 investigators who they will investigate any misdemeanor or a non-violent offense that happens on campus. But we have other officers who are part of task force around the county. And so Tuscaloosa is pretty unique with, they have task force that are compiled of officers from UAPD, from Tuscaloosa County Sheriff's Office, and Tuscaloosa Police Department. And they come together to put all their resources together to be able to solve more serious, more violent crimes or sexual assaults or rapes that happen across the county.
And how long have you been to the force?
I'm going on 4 years.
Okay. So what did you do then before you got Kenny? What was your role here on campus?
So all officers come to UAPD and they start in patrol, but after that I worked our new strip unit that we started about a year ago. So we have about 7 or 8 officers who work just on the strip, and they will keep that area safe during the weekends. And then after that, I moved to investigations for about 6 months. And while I was in that position, it was when I realized that we were going to open up a position for the community K-9 handler.
And you're like, tag, I'm it.
Yes.
I'll sign up for that.
Which most people were surprised, because like being in investigations is kind of like one of the best jobs in the department. And I was like, not for me. When I heard about this job, I was like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And so I left a very sought after position to come and work with you.
Well, but you used to, or maybe you still do, I know at one point you were like a youth minister, and so I'm wondering how does that, you know, flow into what it is that you're doing? Because again, it is somewhat of a ministry on campus to students to help bring them joy and to set them at ease maybe during finals and things like that. So how has your previous experience as a youth minister or youth pastor help you in this new role?
Yeah, sure. So that was one of the things that kind of drew me to the position, was the fact that it ties into so many of the things I've done before I came to UA. I was part of the Great Resignation of after COVID, of people wanting to change careers. I spent 10 years in ministry and nonprofit work, and during the pandemic and afterwards, I was just ready to do something else, and so I found my way on a broken road to UA as a police officer. And so being with Kenny is kind of, I'll always joke with people, like being a university police officer is like being a youth minister with a gun. And that very much feels that way now, because that's my job, is just connect with students, to try to help them as much as I possibly can. I just happen to have a dog and a badge on while I do it. So.
Thank you so much for doing that, because it is, I think that, I really wish that had been around when I was a student on campus, because I know there were some times I could have used Kenny.
Yeah, no, I think.
And you have a calm presence, so that's probably would have been great for me too.
It definitely, as a former student, UAPD was very helpful in a variety of capacities for me, but to talk to UAPD while also having a Kenny dog, it would definitely ease me, especially if there was a situation that I had to talk about and was overwhelmed. So I think like this is a wonderful, project and opportunity for a lot of people on campus.
Definitely.
But I do have to ask, because I'm curious. There is the saying that, if you walk a dog on campus, you will get a ton of women will come and talk to your dog, because that's the best way to attract someone. Now, obviously you're not trying to pick up anyone, but are students just attracted to the dog?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's a key part to what I do now. I mean, the previous years that I've worked here, students don't like police officers. I mean, like, they avoid us, like the plague.
Especially on the strip after a football game, when they're trying to go to a restaurant /
Well, interesting enough,
other establishment for entertainment.
When they're intoxicated, they actually don't avoid you. They actually come up to
I
you
can confirm that.
and talk way longer than you want them to. But when they're sober and they're around campus, they don't want to have anything to do with you. But a dog changes that.
For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
And so that gives you the opportunity, as they're petting him or playing with him, to just strike up a conversation and get to know them a little bit. And where it really makes a difference is the second time or the third time you see them, to be able to say, hey, like, how are your parents? Or are you heading back to Pennsylvania or wherever they're from? And for them, they're like, oh, like, he remembers me. He remembers.
Yeah.
So all those things make a difference.
They really do.
I think that's important, because we do have so many students, especially who are from out of state, and there's a lot of parents who, I mean, myself included, sending your kid off to school, you're just really nervous about them being away from home. And I think it's great to know that there are programs here on campus where students can have, a little joy in their lives, because I think a lot of kids get homesick. And so for you to be able to remember their names and, where they're from, I think is phenomenal, because I know that there's a lot of kids who they're just like, after one semester, I want to go back home. I'm tired of being away from the house. I want to go home. I want mom's cooking. I want somebody to do my laundry. They get homesick. And so do you feel like Kenny helps in that capacity to help them ease through this transition of moving so far away from home?
Yes. Again, a lot of them are homesick and are missing their parents, but a lot of them, what I hear is like, man, I miss my dog.
Yes.
And so when they see Kenny, it's like, oh, like, this is the replacement for my dog right now, because I would love to play with my dog, but this is what I have now is Kenny. And so that's one of the biggest things that I hear.
It's like an anchor for people. I think when you go to a new place, especially, and you're away from everything if you've got an anchor, it's the first step to building community for yourself, so I can see that would be really important.
It was one of the first things when I decided to stay full-time in Tuscaloosa that I adopted a cat, because I always grew up with cats, so I needed to make my house a home. So it's like that,
Yeah.
And I know a lot of students, especially freshmen and sophomores, may not have the living situation to have a dog, so this gives them that opportunity. I love that.
Definitely. So cute.
Well, I have to ask you this question. Because for those of our watchers on YouTube, you can see that I'm wearing my Dog Mom t-shirt, which my daughter gave me. But the funny thing is, I look down, and when I look at it or look in the mirror, it says Mom God. So I don't really, I mean, am I a dog mom? Am I a mom God? Maybe I'm both. I don't really know. But does it kind of make you feel really important, like the big man on campus? Because you do have, honestly, I don't care what you said about the investigators being the best job, whatever. I really do feel like you do have the best job on campus. I mean, there's another person on campus who is like the vice president of our students. I ran into him at Lowe's just the other day, and I told him, thank you for all that you do on campus, because they, hand out gift packets, and they just make funny reels and stuff like that. And so he's always trying to stay engaged with the students, which I think is fantastic. But I think you probably have the best job on campus. Do you feel that as well?
Oh, absolutely.
Do you feel like that?
See that smile
I don't
right
talk,
there.
I don't talk about it much because I don't want to make anybody jealous. But in my family, there's a running joke that there's a good job to have where you can make money and do what you love. Like Marshall will find it, and that's been the case like so many times in my life. And like this is just another indication of that. I mean, I wouldn't do anything else right now.
And we don't want you to do anything else.
I always loved hearing that.
I'm going to be interested to know, once this kind of takes off and blossoms more publicly, if other institutions try to do the same thing. So, I mean, I think it would be kind of interesting for you, talking to other campuses like, Auburn University or UAB or UAH or University of Mobile, whomever it might be, throughout the state, and just see if that's a program that they might be interested in. So once you kind of get it all established and worked out, then I think it's really a beneficial, part of a campus, not just for safety purposes to have the K-9 units, but, like I said, like Susan was saying, basically to build community,
So our chief has already decided we're going to have another case.
Okay, I was about to ask, what's the
So-
plan with our
I mean,
program?
do you
Yes.
have to be a police officer to be part of
so.
this?
That's a
I
good
feel
question
like I
for
would
him.
be really good at this job. This might be my
Susan,
calling in
no,
life.
you're an editor. Susan, no, you're an editor.
Please
You
don't
can't
leave me,
leave.
Susan. I need you. But we can volunteer part-time, and Susan and I will happily go and walk some dogs and be social.
I was
If you
about
need
to
some
say, I
volunteers.
have a running list of students who have told me they would love the
I
dogs that
bet.
come
I
out
bet.
of town.
Yes.
So what is the plan then? So you said we're gonna expand the program?
Yeah, so we're still looking, we're still establishing like what I do here, but we're already looking at having another community K-9. I work day shift, and so I'm here during the day, which is great. I walk a lot of libraries around campus while their students are going in and out of classes. But we've also saw that there could be a great need for having a dog that are just walking around the dorms while their students are there, throughout the evenings and the nights. And so maybe if we did get another K-9, they'll work primarily during the evening time. But we also know that, campus and just municipality police departments as well, like what Kenny is doing is making its way around the state. One of our officers went down to Selma, Alabama to do some training at the police academy down there, nowhere near here.
Right.
And somebody asked him, hey, doesn't UAPD have a dog that does nothing? And he was like, huh? He's like, yeah, you guys have a dog that doesn't do anything. And he's like, oh yeah, Kenny.
No,
just
Kenny
hangs
does
out.
plenty.
The dog that doesn't do anything.
So-
Not the editor that doesn't do anything.
You
with
do
the
a
dog.
lot. Okay, Susan, don't undercut yourself.
Kenny does plenty.
That's true.
So before we go, of course, I have to ask, if you and Kenny weren't on campus, what do you think you would be doing?
Oh man, that's a good question. We're on campus all the time, so I'm not sure what I would do with my free time. Kenny would probably be in his crate resting because he gets a lot of human attention throughout the day. So usually when he goes home, he gets in his corner and he just kind of hangs out.
What is the most unusual job that you've ever held?
Probably this one. Probably this
The
one.
most unusual and the best.
Yes, absolutely. 'Cause I'm still, you know, so I think about like, what are my objectives?
Yeah.
It's hard to quantify, you know, engaging and connecting with students and faculty and staff, but it's definitely needed work. I don't know how it shows up on a report, but it's needed work for
Some
sure.
of the most important things don't show up on the report, so
Amen.
I think it's awesome.
For somebody that went
Yeah.
to college for accounting, I love to hear that.
See.
because
Oh,
Exactly.
so you went to a college for accounting.
If you
So
want my
what
whole
hap-
life
what
story,
happened- what
happened
that might
to
need
that?
to be another episode.
Oh my goodness! But what kind of treats? I mean, can he get treats, or does he like a particular type of food or anything like that?
For a dog that came from the shelter, he's very snobbish with his
Really?
treats. Yes.
Oh my
He's a
goodness!
foodie.
My dog is a purebred
Uh-huh.
Rottweiler from a breeder, and he'll eat anything that
Right.
is in front of
Yep.
him. And Kenny, was doing 15 to life in the metro, and we rescued him and gave him this awesome job, and he's just he's very snobbish. I have to work very hard to find treats and toys that he
That's
likes.
amazing.
That's
Does he have a
hilarious.
favorite toy? Does he like so far?
No, because he's
No.
usually bored with him. After
That's
about
true. Well,
15
he's
minutes.
like all of us. His social battery wears out after a certain time, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna chill over here."
Yeah, that makes sense. So let me ask you this: are you a cat person?
Not at all.
It's okay. We
Fair.
still love you.
Yeah,
I'm slightly allergic as well.
I am as well. So yeah, I don't like cats because they're attitudinal. But these two women on the other side of me, they both have cats and they love cats. But I mean, I like watching cat videos. But
Well,
They-
we are also attitudinal.
yeah,
so it's
that's
okay.
probably
I don't live the life
accurate.
a dog deserves. So I will keep your cats, Marshall, and you can keep the dog, and you can live that life, and I'll live the cat life.
Deal.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I just want the dog to be happy. So if you and Kenny could go anywhere in the world, where do you think you'd go?
Well, I don't care about what Kenny wants.
Okay.
I would love to go to Europe. It's one of the few places in the world I've never been to.
So where else have you been then?
Oh boy. Australia, Asia. Never been to South America either. But
That's amazing.
Canada, Mexico, Honduras. A lot of these things were, study abroad trips
Sure.
in college or mission trips while I was in ministry.
Mhm.
So how far have you traveled with Kenny, and does he travel well?
We just came back from Orange Beach. We,
Oh,
okay.
nice.
We were hand selected to go to a police officer recruiting conference in
cool.
Orange Beach. So he traveled with me, and
And how was that?
it was fun for me. I'm sure he was bored out of his mind.
But does he drive well?
He does.
That's
He
good.
drives well.
Look, it's a question.
But
Some
when,
dogs
but
don't.
when you got to the beach, did he get on the sand? Did he enjoy that?
We didn't even have time to go.
Aw,
to the
that's
beach.
really
Aw.
bad.
You don't go on a business trip to the beach and then not go to the beach.
Tell me about it. We need to add some more free time to
Yeah,
the schedule
really.
next time.
It's called no sleep. You just don't
Sleep,
sleep.
no sleep.
And it was pretty cold that
Oh,
day.
yeah, that's not good.
True.
Well, listen, we just really want to thank you, Officer Wade, for coming to our podcast today with your K-9 Kenny, and we appreciate all of our listeners, especially those who are also following us on YouTube. And thank you for joining us for this edition of Coffee and History, a conversation with Alabama Heritage. You can find your podcast on our website at alabamaheritage.com or wherever you get your podcasts. And don't forget, we are streaming on YouTube, and we are posting the extended videos with no edits. So I'm not sure why we're doing that, but heaven forbid, we just want you to see what we're really like without editing. So anyway, thank you for joining us, but first, I need more coffee. Bye-bye.
Bye.